he's at the wrong. Right there.
Stop! Stop!
All right.
Forces use.
All right.
It's a sound that stops everyone in their tracks. The shattering of glass followed by the desperate shouts of a man who has clearly been pushed to his absolute limit. Welcome back. Today we are breaking down a video that is currently tearing up the internet, filmed inside a hotel lobby where a routine check-in turned into a high-stakes confrontation. In the raw footage, we see a black man locked in a heated dispute with hotel staff and security. According to witnesses and the man's own shouts, he was being denied service. He wasn't being turned away because the hotel was full, and he wasn't being turned away because he couldn't pay. He was standing there demanding to know why he was being excluded from a space he had every right to be in. Look closely at the body language in these opening frames. You see the wall of staff standing firm, a maintenance worker and a security guard hovering like a barrier. This wasn't just a misunderstanding or a clerical error. This was a gatekeeping tactic we've seen 1,000 times before. When the man is finally forced toward the exit, his frustration reaches a boiling point. He doesn't just walk away, he bangs on that glass door until it shatters. Now, mainstream media is going to frame this as simple property damage. They're going to focus on the broken glass and the danger to the public. But on this channel, we look deeper. We have to ask, what leads a man to that level of sheer desperation? What was said behind that desk before the cameras started rolling? We've seen this script play out over and over. It's the living while black tax. It's that moment where simply demanding the respect and service you've paid for is instantly labeled as threatening or aggressive. The tension in that lobby was thick enough to cut with a knife, and as the glass fell to the floor, the entire situation shifted from a civil dispute to a criminal one in the blink of an eye. This is where the trap was set, and unfortunately we're about to watch it spring shut. As the glass shards hit the floor, the atmosphere shifts from a heated argument to a full-blown emergency. Within seconds, the blue lights are flashing outside, and the arrival of the police marks the beginning of a much more violent phase of this encounter. This is where we have to pause and look at the speed of the escalation. There is no dialogue here. There is no, "Sir, can you step outside so we can talk?" There isn't even a moment for the officer to assess the man's side of the story. Instead, we see an immediate transition into physical dominance. Watch the officer's movement. He doesn't lead with his voice. He leads with his weight. He goes straight for a high-impact tackle, driving the man into the hard tile floor. In an instant, this patron is pinned down, his face pressed against the ground, while the officer's knee is used to secure him. This is the vivid reality of the lack of de-escalation training we see in our communities. We have to ask the hard question. If this were a different zip code, or if that man didn't fit a certain profile, would the response have been a conversation or a takedown? The hotel staff, including the man in the maintenance shirt who was just arguing with him, stands back and watches. They called for a disturbance and they got a tactical suppression. It's a chilling sight because it highlights a specific psychological switch. The moment a black man raises his voice to protest an injustice, he is no longer viewed as a customer with a grievance. He is viewed as a threat that needs to be neutralized. The officer didn't see a frustrated traveler who felt cheated. He saw a suspect who needed to be broken. As the handcuffs click into place, the message to everyone watching in that lobby is loud and clear. Your frustration, no matter how justified, is a crime if it makes the room feel uncomfortable. This isn't just about one man and one officer. It's about a system that chooses force over understanding every single time the wrong person demands an explanation. To truly understand the weight of this moment, we have to look beyond this single hotel lobby and look at the broader landscape of what it means to travel while black in 2026. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a documented surge in service refusal cases that are happening from coast to coast. We're seeing a persistent gatekeeper mentality where black patrons are met with immediate suspicion the moment they walk through a revolving door. Why was he denied service? Usually the excuses are draped in corporate policy, claims of an improper ID, a declined card that actually works fine, or the classic "we reserve the right to refuse service to anyone," but we all know the subtext. It's that subtle, cold energy that says, you don't belong in this space. When you are told you aren't welcome in a place where you've put down your hard-earned money, it triggers a deep generational trauma. The man in this video wasn't just screaming about a room, he was screaming for his humanity. He kept asking, "Why are you denying me service?" And that is the one question nobody in that lobby wanted to answer. Instead of a manager coming out to resolve a booking error, they brought out the handcuffs. This is the systemic loop we have to call out. First, they discriminate. Second, they provoke a reaction by being dismissive or disrespectful. Third, they call the police to punish that reaction. And finally, they point to the broken glass as the reason they didn't want him there in the first place. It is a circular trap designed to make the victim look like the villain. By focusing only on the man's outburst, the hotel successfully diverts attention away from the original act of exclusion. We are watching a masterclass in how institutional bias is laundered through security concerns, turning a legitimate civil rights grievance into a police report. As we watch this encounter reach its conclusion, we have to look at the faces of the people standing around the lobby. Everyone has their phones out, capturing the scene, but notice the silence from the bystanders. The man is eventually pulled up from the floor, disoriented and humiliated, and led away in handcuffs. For the hotel, the problem has been solved. The glass will be replaced by an insurance claim, and the lobby will be buffed back to a shine by morning. But what about the dignity of the human being who was just dragged across that floor? That isn't something you can just repair with a maintenance budget. The news commentary takeaway here is that we cannot continue to let causing a disturbance be used as a convenient blanket term to cover up the mistreatment of black patrons. If we only judge this story by the last 30 seconds, we miss the entire truth. We have to demand the body cam footage to hear the full exchange, and we have to hold these establishments accountable for their right to refuse policies when they are clearly being used as a weapon for discrimination. This video serves as a jarring reminder that even in 2026, the simple act of checking into a hotel can become a battleground for your civil rights. I want you to head down to the comments right now and let your voice be heard. Do you see a criminal who got what he deserved for breaking a door, or do you see a man who was pushed into a corner until he had no choice but to push back? Does property damage ever justify an immediate violent escalation by law and order? We're going to stay on top of this story and track whether this hotel faces any legal repercussions for the original refusal of service. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this out to keep the conversation going, because if we don't document these moments and speak on them, the narrative will always be written by the ones holding the keys. Stay woke, stay safe, and keep demanding the truth. I'll see you in the next one.